oh, how can we pursue something that's even crazier than what we've done? And probably even more so than that, like how can we do something no one's done before or seen before? And we just have this very curious imagination where we dream up things and then we just think, okay, I've never seen that. I wonder what that looks like. How can we pull that off? So that's sort of like the origins. And I guess what we've had to also do through that period is think like business owners, like we started a small business, myself, Scott and Derek, in 2015. It's like, okay, we're going to do this as a job. Like, what does that mean?
Today on The Unicorns, we're featuring a new Australian beverage brand that's attracting plenty of attention here in Australia and overseas. It's called Tea Industries, and it's the latest venture from the world record-breaking YouTubers How Ridiculous. The team, best known for their wild stunts and global online following, has joined forces with Queensland entrepreneur Alexa Stathakis to take on the crowded iced tea market with a sugar-free, naturally brewed alternative that's already sold out both here in Australia and in the USA. Tea Industries is aiming to change the way we think about healthy drinks, blending entertainment, influence, and innovation in an unexpected partnership. So joining me today are Alexa from Tea Industries and Brett Stanford from How Ridiculous. Alexa and Brett, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Well, we're seeing a shift in how brands are launched, with creators and influencers using their platforms to build entire businesses. So a question to both of you: do you see this as the future of marketing? And what do you think traditional brands can learn from this?
Yeah, of course. If you like, I can go. So I guess what we're seeing this amazing trend is where you have a community. And so when most larger brands launch, they're marketing to individuals through either the banners or giant roadside billboards. But instead, we're actually creating a product within a community. So what that does is allows really fast feedback, which allows us to create the best possible products we can within that community. So most brands would have quite a long feedback loop. They would have to wait. I don't even know how most people end up getting the consumer feedback except drop in sales. Whereas we have people messaging us directly. You can see people messaging within the YouTube chat. And I think that's really valuable information. At the end of the day, we want to make the best possible drinks. And what better way to do that than this opportunity?
And Brett, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the entire future of marketing, but I think, we see our YouTube channel as something that is our own. It's something that we've built from the ground up ourselves. And there's a real authenticity to it where I feel like you generate a following of people that are really invested in just following along with what you do over a long period of time. So I think it brings a real opportunity if you can find something that makes sense, that you're really passionate about, that, you can get traction fast and you can really get people interested quickly and in a really genuine way. And I think, particularly if, creators are going to do it, in a way that makes a lot of sense for them, and they're genuinely keen on it, then I think the following, brings a real opportunity that is pretty unique and I think has been, shown over the last few years to be really effective too.
Can you take us back to when Tea Industries and How Ridiculous first became aware of each other and the background to the partnership forming? How did all of that happen, guys?
Well, it's so funny. My boyfriend actually went to Egypt, and a random little African boy told him about the High Ridiculous channel, and that was going back a fair few years. And so when we met, he introduced High Ridiculous to me, and we would watch it together. We thought that their content was awesome. It was so wholesome, so engaging, and they're really just such amazing guys. And so we thought, how cool would it be to just send them a message on Instagram and just see what happens. And so we sent them a message. They were like, oh, we could be interested. come on over. So we hopped on a plane, flew to Perth, met them in person, and I guess just mentioned our vision on how to create the best possible healthy drinks. Most people are either overweight or obese, and most products on the market have so much sugar or artificial sweeteners. And so we had this vision, and they wanted to team up, and it's been absolutely fantastic.
And Brett, what did you think when you got the random message through Instagram? Who is this crazy person? What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, you can imagine we get a huge variety of inquiries from people, that range from, a kid wanting us to come to their birthday party to let's start a business and everything in between. So there is a lot of boldness with what people request from us or hope from us. And the truth is we just judge everything on its own merit. So yeah, I think for us it was interesting. I think we were fascinated to hear more. It's not the sort of inquiry you get every day. So I think, we were fascinated to hear more about what the product was, why they were doing it, and what the vision for what it could be was, and why us? Why would we be a good fit? Why did they want to get involved? And I guess hearing a bit of the story around how how they'd found out about us and how long they'd been watching us for, and that was just fascinating for us to hear. And then I think from then on it was, okay, what would this look like? What would this mean? How do we evaluate? Is this something we want to do or not? And obviously over a long period of time we decided, let's have a go at it.
Because obviously you mentioned you get a lot of interest, a lot of inquiries. Can you try to pinpoint, Brett, what it was that stood out about Alexa's approach, and what was the moment that convinced you and your partners that this was a collaboration worth pursuing?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been doing YouTube videos for almost 16 years now, longer than 16 years. So we've seen a lot of things. We've done a lot of work with brands, a lot of one-off, sort of sponsorship pieces in the first probably 5 or 6 years of us doing it. That was a large part of how we could survive as a business, was through sponsorships. But the reality is that the more you work with people on one-off basis, it can be taxing. You feel like you're giving your audience, continually different things to think about, to maybe buy, to become aware of. And I think over the journey, we've really enjoyed the idea of working with people more regularly, more ongoingly, and actually building something. Because in reality, what you're doing is you're building someone else's business when you're promoting a sponsor. So you get obviously compensated for that, but it's a one-off compensation. It is what it is, and you move on. And it goes well. Or people want to do it again, sure, it might become a recurring thing. But I think as we go on in our journey, we're 16 years in now. We're more thinking about, okay, what can be more of a longer term play? How can we, we've built this YouTube channel into something that is now significant. We have a lot of people that watch it. We're able to engage with a lot of people and share, I guess, our values with them and the sort of the fun that we get up to. That's been really cool to do. It wouldn't be the same if it was someone else's YouTube channel we were just working on as talent.
Of course.
It wouldn't be the same. So I think the uniqueness for us here, which doesn't always get pitched to us, but it's probably only been the last few years that it's become a bit of a thing, was, how about we do this together? We don't want this to be a one-off thing. We want you to work with us to grow this. We want this to be something that you can actually, not just promote, but actually be a part of building. And we can give our thoughts on things like the flavor and the branding and the strategy and how do we present this? How can this be our thing? And so I guess that was something that was compelling for us. I think the idea of being involved in something really early that we can help shape it together was exciting for us, as opposed to picking back on something that's been going for years. And it's like, oh, are we really moving the needle here? It's like, no, we can actually graft this together was exciting. I think obviously, we spent some time with Alexa and her boyfriend, and we were able to get to hear their story a bit more, see how they were keen to innovate, and do things a little bit differently, maybe to what sort of other companies were doing. And I think we were like, yeah, these guys have got a lot of passion for what they're doing. And for us, that's so important, you know, like we're here because we're extremely passionate about our content. You know, we're willing to do almost whatever it takes, put in all the amounts of hard work that's required to get it to where it needs to be. So we could see that there was a similarity there, that they had that same sort of passion and work ethic, which resonated. And yeah, I think as well, I mean, truthfully, like we all like drinking iced tea. Like it's something we like. And
That's good.
we've got, you know, I've got 3 children. So, you know, we're obviously in that stage of life where we're thinking about, okay, what are our kids eating? What are they drinking? And realizing a lot of people that watch us are, you know, there's a lot of younger people. There's people of all ages, to be honest. We get people of all ages. And there is probably still an ignorance towards, oh, I'll just drink any amounts of sugary drinks and it'll be all good. And I think we were like, oh, I'm very considerate around what my kids are eating and drinking. Like if I'm having a sugar-filled drink and my kid wants it, I'll be like, oh, no, probably not. So the idea that actually we can drink, you know, some things now where I'm like, actually, yeah, you can have some, is actually really cool. So bit of a convoluted answer, but, you know, the truth is
Great answer.
we don't go into this lightly. It was considered, and I think, you know, we know it's still a risk to start something new, you know, to start something from the ground up is still, you know, there's no guarantee it's gonna make where you hope it gets to, but you know, we're very optimistic, and I think we've built our channel on taking risks and giving it a red hot crack and giving it our all, and we think, well, here's another chance to do that, just like one of our videos.
So it seems as though you've formed a genuine and material partnership. You do come from very different worlds. You've got viral global sensation YouTubers on one side, and Alexa with you, a health food entrepreneur. So bringing those elements together, what have you learnt from each other during this process?
You want to go first, Alexa? What have you learned?
Yeah, I mean, I've honestly learned so much about what goes on behind the scenes of a YouTuber. It's pretty full on, and the amount of years and effort that has been put in, as you can really see it through and through. And so it was just so fascinating to even see all the different cameras and all the excitement on the day, and leading up to that, how long it takes to plan everything. And I think there's a lot of similarity there with a business. Is it takes a lot of behind the scenes work to plan things, to make sure everything's okay. And from a customer's perspective or a viewer's perspective, they only see the end product and they only see that final little bit. And so, yeah, definitely it's those hours and hours behind the scenes that really compound and add up.
Yeah, I think from our perspective, I think, you know, there obviously are differences. There's also similarities, you know, and I think the truth is you know, our channel was a startup. Our channel is something that was built from nothing. So, you know, we've been able to see like, oh, the similarities of really focusing on what's most important. How do we prioritize well? How do we have a real refined focus on actually what are the most important things we can be looking at? So I think that we've been able to really like bounce off each other well, even in these early stages, and adapt. But I mean, I've probably learnt, you know, that there's just a world of things that I'm not aware of, you know, even in just the supply chain sort of thing, you know, whether it's distribution. Obviously, when we do marketing for, you know, our own stuff, previously, it's like, well, our videos are it. Like, that's it. That's what we really think about. It's like we make a video about something and that's all. But I think I've learned from you know, Alexa and the team, it's like this, just having a diverse strategy around how do we actually get people to be aware of this? How do we get them to get it in their hands? How do we get distribution partners wherever we want to do that? How do we get it in different stores? Like, there's just so many things that I haven't thought about, let alone the actual manufacturing process, you know, and actually getting the taste right, getting the drink approved, you know, having all, there's so much obviously stepping stones to walk through, even getting something legally available to be sold in Australia. You know, the regulations are so high. So yeah, I think we've got appreciation for, the amount of work that goes on. And I think that's sort of where you've got a partnership comes together, where you've got some awareness of the different elements, but you've also got your own key areas that you're really focusing on. And, for us, one of the cool things about being really involved in it is that, like, normally when we work with a brand or a sponsor, it's like they're they can be very controlling around how it's said, what you say, but actually when you've got your own thing, it's almost like you can just speak out of what you really think, and what you believe. And so, with Alexa, it's like she's not saying to us, okay, you need to say all these exact things. It's like, because we're working on that together.
It's your brand too.
It's our brand. That's right. So
Yeah.
sometimes even the approval process just on content, we might turn around videos really quick and just want to get them out. And just, you've got to send it to someone who sends it to someone who has some feedback. It comes back, or you need to say this, or that wasn't, whatever. It's like super annoying. It's like having an internal team means we can just, yep, we're happy with it. Great.
It's done.
Let's see, all good. Yep. Great. Post. It's very easy.
So, Alexa, I want to turn to you briefly. For those listeners who are not familiar with tea industries, can you give us a little bit of the backstory? Tell us the who, what, where, when, why. Tell us the backstory of tea industries and how you came to be.
Of course. Well, it's I think these days people say you've got to spill the tea. So I have the tea to spill. So yeah, essentially I've always been really super fascinated about health and wellness. I had a background in that, studied nutrition, did psychology, business, and I just saw that, most drinks on the shelves have a lot of sugar or a lot of artificial sweeteners in them. And there's not too many options. Some of the stuff that shows a healthier version, like flavored water, you think, oh, this is such a great thing to have. And then you turn it around and it's got so many artificial sweeteners. And you're like, but this is labeled as being healthy. And then the more I researched it and found out about the gut and how you have these entire ecosystem in your stomach, which is so fascinating. And so whatever you feed is actually feeding, not only helping with your cells, but also changing the entire civilization in your stomach that then promotes you to eating different things. So I was like, well, if everything I'm eating is having a big impact on everything in my body, how could I make sure that everything is as good as it can possibly be? And through that, I guess, we all know that the cleaner something is, the more, the better, but there's opportunity to have variation in that. And so looking at iced tea, which is quite a stale category, how can you have iced tea without a bucket load of sugar, without a bucket load of artificial sweeteners that taste great, and I think is good for people as well.
And so tell us about the range of products that you have and where they can be bought.
Yeah, of course. So we started with 7 different flavors to kind of just really gauge what is it that people want. And so out of those, it was 2 aloe and 5 different flavors of iced tea. We got quite a big traction in high schools on a national scale, which was really interesting, in a lot of IGAs. And so we learned extremely quickly which flavors worked and which didn't. We also had a feedback loop. And I think this comes back to being a smaller company as well, is you can actually pick up the phone or send an email to contact customers and find out what is it that they want, what is it that they don't want. You can see your sales data. And we found that people wanted sweeter things, but they still wanted that health element. And so we found that the ones that were slightly sweeter tended to do much better. So we changed the formulation. We had people coming to us saying, look, we don't like just stevia by itself, even though we have 0.01%, so the smallest fraction. But people said, look, we wanted to have a sweeter feel, a better mouthfeel. So we did a bunch of research, did some reformulation, sent all the samples through to How Ridiculous to taste and give us their feedback as well. And so we took the top flavors, improved them even more, and then released them in a can form. And so I guess that's where we are now, is taking all this knowledge from the past year, improving everything, and then getting it on a wider scale and launching in the US to see what the US market thinks.
So I want to talk about that. So can you shine a light, both of you, on what exactly it is that you have launched, and give us a sense of, I think you've been in market for just over a week. Perhaps not even. How has the launch gone? Where is it for sale? Can you give us a sense of some of the sales figures and how successful it's been?
Yeah, fantastic. So we've had three major flavors. We've got our lemon, we've got our raspberry, and our peach. Our raspberry flavor actually has the Rexy on it. So we worked together with Howard Douglas to create a really amazing packaging that people would really recognize and enjoy, and had quite a lot of fun with that. We've also got a koala surfing, which is so unique to Australia, and then also a really cool astronaut. Upon launching in the US, we are in Amazon US, which we found was a great avenue because customers trusted through the online space and also have the same day delivery. And then we launched with Walmart online, which was definitely an interesting journey to say the least. And then here in Australia, we launched just direct all through Amazon as well. The traction was really, really amazing. We actually had a 66.7 click conversion, which is extremely, extremely high. Amazon US did really, really well. We sold out of Rexy in just a few days. The other flavors did incredibly, incredibly well. And in Australia, yeah, we had a crazy success rate. So we're really excited. We've actually got a meeting with the Walmart buyer next week, Tuesday. So that's definitely piqued their interest, along with many other people as well.
Fantastic. And Brett, what's the backstory to How Ridiculous? You mentioned you started it 16 years ago. I'd love to get a sense of the size and scale of your operation. I've seen the videos; they are incredible. But you are a true global sensation. I genuinely mean that. How popular is your YouTube channel?
Oh, yeah, I guess it depends how you look at it. So at the moment, I mean, we've been, obviously going for a long time. So we've seen like the YouTube space change a lot. I think if you have people now that have been doing YouTube for maybe 5 years, they feel like they've been there forever and they're veterans. But we were there. We started 3 years after YouTube itself began. There was no such thing as a YouTuber. There was no such thing as a career path or a way to really monetize it. The amount of revenue you got from ads was, frankly, pennies. So yeah, I think we've been able to really I guess survive and ideally thrive through all those different seasons. So it's sort of broken up into a few different segments. The first 5 or 6 years was run as a hobby as friends. So we're all sort of, How Ridiculous started as myself and a few friends from actually who met at church here in Perth. So we've been friends for, 30 years or so. And yeah, it was initially just born out of having fun, throwing basketballs. We're all into sports. So we just did basketball trick shots, which was something that was sort of just emerging on YouTube. And that gave us traction. And I guess we were, from the get-go, we were pretty ambitious with what we sort of did. So even in our first video, we're trying to throw basketballs over the house, from one side to the other to get them in, or just pushing the limits of what you could do in a backyard. And then immediately we start going beyond that. And, the local news picked us up. I think a year later, it took us to the local stadium and that went really well. And we went global across, the news and CNN. And then, we just kept having this, like, what's next? How can we go bigger, crazier, better? Like, what's the next thing? And, that ultimately led us, probably 6 years after, so 2015, we decided let's actually quit our other jobs and try and do this. And there was no, we didn't have a lot of income coming in at that point, but we just figured, we were doing this in our spare time. We either had to stop it or commit or go all in, basically. And I think we didn't like the idea of, imagine being in 2026 and we never took a punt on it and looking back and be like, oh, I wonder if we'd given it a go. I just hated that idea. It felt like this was a true once in a lifetime opportunity to just go up to something super random. And none of us had any dreams or aspirations, earlier on in our lives to be media stars or actors or, to be on TV or anything like that. I think, we just wanted to have fun with each other and just do cool things. So we took the plunge and then, I guess we had to reinvent ourselves, and we've had to a number of times. We initially did lots of sports videos and we got a lot of media attention. We were regularly on the news. breaking world records. That's, doing things like the highest basketball shots in history, which our first one was like 60 meters at the Wacker Light Tower in Perth. And then it went to 90, then it went to 120, and then it went to 180, then it went to 200 meters off a waterfall in Africa. Like it's, that's sort of like a bit of a representation of our journey. It's just that this continual how can we pursue something that's even crazier than what we've done? And probably even more so than that, how can we do something no one's done before or seen before? And we just have this very curious imagination where we dream up things and then we just think, okay, I've never seen that. I wonder what that looks like. How can we pull that off? So that's sort of like the origins. And I guess what we've had to also do through that period is think like business owners, we started a small business, myself, Scott and Derek, in 2015, it's like, okay, we're going to do this as a job. What does that mean? What does that mean to do this as a job?
It's good in theory, but
hey, and we were I was married. So it was like, okay, so was Scott. So this is not something that we're going to take lightly. I quit my job as a physio, at a youth pastor. I had normal jobs. So to give up those things, you had to actually think, okay, we're going to do this properly. And how do we have fun, but also, make it something that's actually going to, pay the bills. And so, we've had to put our same passion for the ideas into how can we actually grow this business too. So that's sort of the backstory. The videos you see now are very different to the ones you would see at the start of our channel, even, 10 years ago. We've obviously improved in the way that we present that, but we've also learned probably over time just to be ourselves, to embrace, often the takes we'll use are the ones we stuff up, the ones we sort of laugh off, and the audience loves that. They love that we're just, it's relatable, it's down to earth. We do generally probably come across as just three guys having fun, but just happen to be filming it. With 15 cameras. Yeah.
How many subscribers? Give us an idea of the metrics of those that are not familiar with How Ridiculous. What would an average video generate?
Yeah, I mean, if I can give you some, I guess I can give you some numbers. So I can open up our analytics. At the moment, we have 23.9 million subscribers on YouTube. I can look up our lifetime views on YouTube to give you an idea of how many views we've got on YouTube. We've got 15.3 billion views on YouTube.
Stop it.
So we've got a few videos, a few YouTube shorts that have got over 1 billion views just on themselves. And that's just YouTube, so on top of that, I think we probably have 50 to 60 million followers across all of our platforms. So that's TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, all those sorts of things. So it's become, from a numbers point of view, pretty massive. And, but at the same time, it's also cool when we travel around the world, everywhere we go, people will see it, notice us and come up and say hello and want a photo. And, it's every country we've been, and that's so bizarre. So, we had a story, from every one of our travels. We probably filmed in 15 countries or something like that. But I remember one time this is in 2019, we're in Texas, doing a video where we're shooting things with a tank, to see what happened. I think we stacked 10 fridges to celebrate 5 million subscribers. We put 10 fridges in a row and shot a tank at it. But we need to do a late night, run to Walmart just to buy some stuff. And it was really late in this small town. Hardly anyone in the store. And I think we had 3 different people that we saw just come want photos with us, and it was just wow, that 15.3 billion is also that's all people. So, sometimes you can get lost in the enormity of the numbers, but also we love that they're just all there's lots of individuals that are following us along, and we try not to get too carried away or caught up in the numbers, because it's sort of fickle. Our experience with fame and numbers has been at the end of the day, fame can be a really fickle thing, but we're certainly blown away by the support we've got from people over the years to enable us to do this as a career.
Incredible. We're almost out of time. So what does this, you might not know the answer to this, a question for both of you. What does the collaboration look like going forward? We're almost at the end of 2025. You've just launched product in market? Have you spoken about together? Hey, what's next?
Yeah, I mean, I guess for us, before Alexa jumps in, this is something we're loving just having a go at, and there's something super cool about having our own drink. And I think, our pitch to our fans in the launch video, a week ago was like, we'd just love you to give it a try. We'd love you to give it a go. Let us know what you think of the flavor. Let us know what you think of the product. Like, this is a journey. We appreciate their honesty and their feedback. And, if they like it, they don't like it. If there's things that are good or bad, like, let us know. So from our point of view, it's like, it's this evolving, week by week, month by month, see how it goes, give it our all, and do our best. And obviously, our hope is that it grows. Our hope is that, obviously we can make the best beverage possible, the one that we feel like is hitting the mark in terms of health, and provides a good alternative for people who want to drink something that's sweet, but without, probably the cons of all the other, the yucky stuff that can go with it. So if we can do that, like, we're super happy. In terms of where we'll be in a year, like, I don't know. I think doing it this long, we've got a pretty open mind to what a year in advance could look like. But we're excited. We're excited to see what happens, and I'm sure Alexa will give her own take on what they hope.
Oh, the goal really, it's pretty shocking that more people globally die of obesity-related issues than they do starvation. And if we can have any role to play in fixing that, in helping that, in improving people's lives, making healthy living enjoyable, accessible, making people aware of what they're consuming. And I think this gives us such an opportunity to keep perfecting the product, making it as best as we can, getting really good quality stuff out there and to as many people as possible. And if anyone becomes aware of it and changes their life, then we've definitely won. So for sure, very excited for what the future comes.
Alexa and Brett, congratulations on the launch. Well done on the collaboration and the partnership, and best of luck in the years ahead together. Thank you very much for coming onto the show and sharing your journey with us. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.